Welcome to Human Marketing, a weekly podcast for B2B marketers unpacking how brands can stay authentic, demonstrate authority, and build trust as AI floods our feeds with content. I'm Chris Nelson, founder of Human Video. We remotely produce podcasts and other video content with real humans and just the right amount of soul. Today, I'm really pleased to welcome Phil Ilic from Kiin agency. They're a LinkedIn ad agency. Welcome to the show, Phil.
Super happy to be here, Chris. Thanks so much.
We were just chatting before we started there, Phil, about our how we first got connected. It was kind of a classic tale of LinkedIn social selling. I had liked one of your you're very active on LinkedIn about all things LinkedIn ads, and I liked one of your posts, and we'd connected. And there was a great initial message of you saying, I can see you have a LinkedIn tag in your website, Chris, but you haven't run any ads. Would you like any help with that? And I just thought it was a really great, a little bit of effort to kind of see what's going on, and kind of start those conversations. Tell me just initially, I guess, a little bit about how you're using LinkedIn. Initially, maybe just a little bit about what Kiin does, but then how you're using LinkedIn and all the great content that you're putting out, I guess, for the social selling and to grow your business.
Yeah, I'm all over LinkedIn in every single way, basically. I've been trying loads of different things, and in the past I was doing things that probably aren't recommended now. So I've done everything basically on LinkedIn. I've been doing LinkedIn kind of since 2020, I'd say, and even 2019 I started running ads, but by really getting heavy on content around 2022. But basically I run a LinkedIn ads agency, so we are all about LinkedIn. We're not really about the content side, but I use LinkedIn content and outreach to get clients, because obviously if you're on LinkedIn, there's a big chance you might need LinkedIn ads, because especially today, we're basically just boosting what's working organically. Strategies are changed really radically over the past pretty much year and a half, to more content-based strategies. So yeah, I'm using LinkedIn. I used to do massive outbound campaigns back when there weren't any limits. I'd do, I think, 150 to 200 connection requests a day. I wish I did more of it, because I know some guys, I'm not going to name names, who did a lot of it, and they have 30,000 followers, 40,000 followers, and they got it from these connection request automation stuff originally. I did it on and off, and it was very, very successful. It worked really well back in the day, and then it became really annoying when everyone started doing it. So I would highly not recommend doing this these days. But yeah, just as a kind of caveat, I've tried all the good stuff, all the bad stuff. I'm always experimenting as well.
I love that. Yes, I totally admit 5 years ago, maybe I did a little bit of that myself, for a completely different business. But I can see how that was really successful for some folks. And actually now, LinkedIn, I hear loads of stories of LinkedIn really clamping down on automation and plugins, and also some really famous stories of kind of quite big companies, and even recently some other really well-known companies that help people with LinkedIn content in a sort of AI automated way, actually just shutting shop because they realize they're totally violating the fundamental rules of LinkedIn.
I think it's a good thing, and I used to be one of these players. I'm going to play the system as much as I can, like anyone else. We're just trying to, our goal is to build our businesses. But actually, to be honest with you, it's probably a good thing to limit this stuff, because it's super annoying. And I do think keeping LinkedIn as a safe, good space, it's one of the few platforms out there which just isn't toxic as well. And that the AI bots are just making LinkedIn less exciting, less good, and you never know who's writing what. And yeah, I think LinkedIn has the potential to go in the wrong direction because of all this, but hopefully not. Let's see.
Oh, well, you've brought up AI. Let's dive into it a little bit. It's something I think about a lot, Phil. I guess I'm kind of all about authentic human-based content, and kind of the nemesis of that for me is AI avatars of people. And I see this more and more, even I was having a bit of an interaction last week with someone who, they just put it up saying here's the latest version of my avatar, and it's I'm just not going to have to get my camera out ever again, And it's really interesting, because quite a lot of the time I see just like a flood of comments under that going like it's still terrible, or like it's you but it has no soul, and like yeah, and sometimes they even show like they've recorded themselves and then like made a sort of slicker avatar version based on the recording, and everyone's like, just use the recording, dude. Like, it was so much better. It was human, it was real, it was authentic. And obviously there's so many other elements of that in terms of AI comments, as you say, just the posts that just are so formulaic and just feel like they're, even someone is just like 100,000 people have got the same advice on how to format a post or something,
Exactly.
and I
I think it's all about fighting not looking like AI now. So even if you are using AI to help you write, it's like the dash. You've
yeah,
got to get rid of the dash because AI
yeah,
always puts that, ChatGPT always puts the dash. And I mean, I'm reading a book at the moment, and in the book pre-AI, it has dashes all over. So it
yeah,
is a normal way of writing. But
100%.
because AI does it, we need to get rid of the dash. And I write things like, I swear with a dollar sign, or like, this is effing great. I try to make it sound as real as
Yeah,
possible, even though I do use a little bit of AI to just like, in ideation,
yeah,
getting a first draft, and then I rewrite it basically. But sounding authentic is really important these days, I believe.
100%. And I always say as well, like I use AI every day in running my business, and as sort of automation of um, making certain bits of repurposing, better, and even especially for research, all sorts of things. But I absolutely would never just let it create posts, and never let it comment, and just without any human interaction at all. I just think that's, oh yes, it's just it is the dumbing down, I think, of LinkedIn, and as you say, LinkedIn is this kind of still relatively pleasant place to be, especially if you venture into other corners of the internet. It's pretty brutal, and LinkedIn is still pretty friendly and pretty helpful in that way. But yeah, no, God, sort of you're on team non AI slop. That's great. Um,
Yeah.
Thinking a little bit, diving a little bit more into, like, I guess how you're using LinkedIn to grow the business. Like, talk a little bit about your kind of content mix. I see you use video really well. There's a lot of kind of walkthroughs. There's even just talking head stuff where you're imparting advice. What's your kind of overall, I guess, content mix? And actually, tell me a little bit about that. I guess how we first met, and that outreach with a lot of, based on an intent signal. How are you kind of doing that? What's your overall kind of strategy of that?
Yeah, I mean, there are two kind of bits to your question. I believe there's like content strategy, and then there's also just like overall strategy of how to actually convert people into scheduled phone calls and eventually clients. But the whole point is that you're getting inbound messages, right? You want inbound messages, or you go outbound to people. And what I do is a system where, well, it's a full system of includes ads as well if you want to boost it. But basically, I'm posting 5 days a week when I can. August has been really difficult, but I try to post 5 days a week. And basically from those posts, I get a lot of, like, a bunch of engagement. Some posts do really well, some don't. I use video as much as I can because it cuts through the AI noise, so people can see that I'm a real person. I make mistakes. I say, and I think that stuff's more important now. So don't get rid of it, in my opinion. I think making mistakes is being genuine. Making mistakes is good. People are like, oh, this is a real person, and we can connect with this real person called Phil. So I use a lot of video. Sometimes I'm busy, so I just do. I mix it up. I definitely do video. I do posts. I've been experimenting with 9 by 16. My reach hasn't been very good of it. Everyone says do 9 by 16. I found it to get me like 1/4 of the reach than 16 by 9 at the moment. I'm going to keep trying it. The algorithm's changing all the time. But what I do, so everyone, with you, for example, I would look at anyone who's liked one of my posts. I'll check if I'm connected with them already. I'll check if they're ICP, like, could they potentially run ads? And I'll reach out to them. I'll research them for like 2 minutes, check if they have an insight tag, and say, hey, I see you have an insight tag, but I see you're not running ads. Is this something you'd like to consider? So all I do is I do an outbound message to anyone who's liked, commented, or seen my profile. And if they're part of the ICP, I'll do an outbound message and basically just say, like, basically it's just about starting conversations. So no selling anything. Don't, do anything which is just a bit annoying. Don't do automated emails, 5 messages and they don't reply. That stuff is just annoys people. So I don't do that. I just try to start a conversation. And I keep it really simple. Like I sometimes use things like yo, and I know I'm not 16, but I say things like yo, how are you doing? Just to make it sound really normal. So I use like weird ways of saying which don't sound normal or don't sound businessy or whatever. But it cuts through the noise. It makes me more endearing, I believe. And you can just start conversations basically. It's all about starting conversations. And I think that's the mix that people get wrong. They post quite a bit, but adding the outbound gets you the conversion to like a scheduled phone call. So it's just about starting conversations, basically. That's all what it's all about.
I love that. Yes, I'm a hey introducer, you know. I don't think I
Yeah.
say hey very much in real life,
Yo,
but
hey.
yeah, I hope I never say yo. Yeah, that's funny. Um,
Yeah,
the, so I love all of that. Thinking, I guess, a little bit more about the kind of video aspect of that. Like you, uh, I love that you're taking a signal. You know, in my case, I've definitely interacted with a bit of content. I've liked what you were saying, and because of the video, you know, I've already heard you. I already see that you're just kind of nice guy, just chatting about, you know, clearly knowledgeable, approachable. And then when the your kind of outbound, you know, reaches my inbox, then I already feel like I know you a bit, and certainly there's a bit of trust there, a bit of familiarity. I'm certainly going to accept a content or a connection request, and we're probably just in such a better place than this super cold pitch slap. You know, like it's a wonderful way of
absolutely.
doing it, and that content over time, like especially with video in the mix. I hear, I love that you mentioned keeping ums and ahs, and I shout this all the time, you know, and there's so many tools now where there's literally just a slider, you know, like a remove the ums and ahs, you know, and or a slider of how much would you like to remove the ums and ahs, and those are the things absolutely that differentiate us from the robots. You know, it's like
Absolutely.
keeping it human, keeping it super real, and that is just what's building the trust, so that when you do reach out at the right time,
Yeah.
it makes all the
And
difference. You
I've
know?
got something. I've got something you're quite like Chris here as well, which is one of my biggest drivers of phone calls is a Loom video, which I send people
Oh,
to. And
yes.
Loom, and yeah, so you're gonna like this. It's genuinely over the past 3 months, I have this one Loom video which has been viewed nearly 1,000 times now by people I've sent it to. Not it's not been boosted by ads. It's literally me just doing an outbound message to people saying, "Hey, I saw you like this. I had this like really deep dive Loom video look which goes over the my exact ad strategy. I did this video like 5 times. I screwed it up. I wanted it. Most videos I do, I just like put it out there. It's good. It's not. It's kind of like just get the video out. It doesn't really matter too much. This one I did over and over and over again. I got to a really good place of it, and I would say it's quite tight. It doesn't like bore people, and it goes really deep and straight. It's actually valuable. It goes over the exact strategy, and so the message I'm sending out to a lot of people now is, hey, by the way, if you just want to see this really deep dive into LinkedIn ads, check it out. And because you have a Loom video, it shows up as a GIF
Yes.
on in the chat, so you can see like a Loom video in the chat in LinkedIn, and my face kind of doing like a GIF kind of
Yeah.
thing. So people, it's very clickable, and that Loom video is probably a big factor to a lot of the scheduled phone calls I get on a weekly basis. It's from this one Loom video. So video is definitely a powerful thing to use here.
Amazing. So you've put effort into something super valuable, and that's almost the introduction. Is like here's tons of value from the first contact. You're saying this is like the next step for you. It feels like it's that concept of something that may have been gated in the past. You know, like, oh, I need, you know, give me your email address and I'll give you some value. But like, absolutely, in 2025, there's such a great play of just giving the value, you know, in a wonderful way, and you're coming across in that. And yes, Loom, and I use SendSpark in a really similar way. They do a wonderful thing with the GIF. Like I sometimes start my SendSparks by like giving a ridiculous wave, you know, but it comes up then in the GIF. You know, it's just like this
That's quite cool.
slightly goofy, you know, real, you know, friendly, inviting chap to just, you know, it's probably okay to click on this video, you know.
Absolutely.
But I absolutely love that. That's really great. All of that is coming from your personal account. Um, thinking of that, and like a lot of what we do is helping people creating, I guess, video content for uh, founders and other thought leaders in their companies, and creating that content. Obviously, 2025, the big play is boosting some of that content with thought leader ads, and I think that may well have been like thought leader ad content that I initially, or you talking about thought leader ads that I initially kind of found you with. Um, I'd love to just dive a little bit into that world, like how you see the boosting of personal posts rather than company posts, how that is working for your clients and possibly for you, and just like spell out, I guess, for folks that don't know really what's going on there, like what it is, why it's so powerful, and what the benefits of it are.
Yeah, absolutely. So traditionally, you do run a LinkedIn ads from your company post. It's like a company post with the company logo. About a year and a half ago, something like this, thought leader ads rolled out, which is basically you can boost your own post from your own personal profile. And they've just been a complete game changer from a LinkedIn ads perspective. And I'd highly recommend, like, I have a whole strategy based around top, middle, bottom funnel. Middle funnel is very much content distribution, and it's about putting content in front of people so they know who you are. They have social signals, social trust. They understand your features and benefits, or how you work if you're a consulting company. So they kind of just get to know you. And video obviously plays a big part of that, but it's not only video, there's other formats. But posting from your personal profile, people like to buy from people. So that's one of the things that is very powerful, I'm finding. And I'm basically I'm telling most of my clients to please figure out their full leadership strategy, because we don't do that as a service. We don't post for them, but we know how to put it into an ad strategy. So I'm just trying to get them to do it. A lot of companies just can't do it, or they can't get someone to post, or the bigger ones especially really struggle with this. The smaller guys will be like, okay, screw it, let's just do it, let's try it. So it's a little bit easier to get them to do that. But I would even design the middle funnel content distribution play in a LinkedIn ads strategy nearly 100% for lead ads. And it's not because people like to buy from people, but it's also just all the metrics are better, like the CPC, the cost. It's a bit of a different metric for lead ads, but you can edit a post after the organic reach kind of dies out after a few days. I know the algorithm is pushing posts now for weeks, but give it a few days, you can edit the post and put a link. And so instead of, you can just put a link at the bottom or wherever you want and say, hey, if you want to learn more about this feature, check this page out. Or if you want to do a demo, you can have your own little call to action, or check out this bigger video I have on it and it's in Loom. You can put a call to action there, and the clicks to landing page metric, so not the CPC metric, it needs to be a clicks to landing page metric in LinkedIn, is getting sometimes 50% of the C cost per click compared to a company page. It's way, way more affordable. And just all the other metrics around it make a lot of sense. And in the middle, from a demand gen strategy, you just want to put your content in front of your ICP. So whereas organically you're going to post, for me it's fine, because my market are like the people who want to get LinkedIn ads are like founders and marketers. So my organic content will probably reach them. But if you're in a more niche segment in the market, your organic content might not reach your actual segment. Whereas with ads, you can put that content, you can boost your personal thought leadership content to exactly your ICP with ads. Because this is one of the benefits of LinkedIn ads. It's such specific targeting. It's like laser sharp targeting. So you can just put that content directly in front of your ICP, give it a good frequency penetration rate to make sure that you're showing up in front of these people multiple times a month until they're ready to reach out to you. Or you also segment a bottom of funnel ad there, which is, hey, do you want to talk to me about this kind of ad? So that's kind of the general overview. But yeah, I would say thought leadership and thought leader ads is the most powerful thing you could be doing right now on LinkedIn.
I love it, and I fully agree. It was a great overview of it. Thank you. I noticed, like you're saying about even middle of the funnel, kind of it could and should potentially all be thought leader ads. I saw a post. It was actually a LinkedIn video a couple of days ago with Stefan from Dream Data, but he kind of revealed that their entire LinkedIn ad spend is thought leader ads, like everything they do, and it's folks right across the country, company. Even I imagine maybe some external folks, even customers talking about them. They're boosting their posts. I just thought it was a slight mind blowing stat. It was really funny because when he said it, he was being interviewed by somebody from LinkedIn, and when he said it, you could see her face was like, "You're doing what? Like, really? This isn't what we want
Yeah.
people to know." But it was great, but it was just quite a big thing that they're 100% all in on thought leader
One
ads.
of the greatest things I'm trying to push on, like especially SaaS clients, is finding other people that say nice things about you, and boosting those posts. So with thought lead ads, you can also boost other people who aren't even connected to your company. And so, for example, I haven't done the instantly ads, but I've analyzed them. I've spoken to them. Instantly are really good at this. Other people speak about them. People have like workflows. Hey, we do this workflow and we use instantly in this way, and then they'll boost other people how they use instantly in their workflows. Or anyone who says anything nice about you, you can boost that to your ICP. So it's the best social proof, which is someone else saying something nice about you, right? And you could boost that with 4 lead ads. So it's super powerful. It really
I
is.
love that. Speaking of other people saying nice things about you, like one of the things we do is creating customer testimonials, and that I found that to be an amazing kind of bottom of the funnel, just tipping people over their edge. You're already aware of it, you're considering them maybe, and it's like maybe some very further down the line retargeting, where just there's been multiple layers, and these are the people you really think are kind of on the edge. Just placing having somebody else tell how wonderful you are is so much more powerful than just saying it yourself. Circling back slightly, I appreciate you don't like create content, but obviously many of the ads that you're managing for your clients are, have images and videos and copy attached to them. What different, like thinking of like thought leadership, I always think is a little bit tricky because talk about thought leader ads, but that's basically boosting any personal post. It could nearly be any type of content. And obviously there's like thought leadership content, which is quite often talking heads or written content. What other uses and types of posts are you finding folks are having success in as like advertising creatives, as it were, like in terms of video and even, talking about images and the sort of personal content that people are putting a bit of spend behind? Like take me a little bit through what you're seeing as being really successful in terms, and maybe at different stages of the funnel, different types of content.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have content buckets. So I think an organic strategy is a little bit different to the ads for the ship strategy. So from an organic perspective, you should probably put like 10% of your, stuff should just be about you, and like, you're having a nice day on Sunday riding a bike or something. So people get to know who you are as well. Um, but that's like 10%. From an ads perspective, I break it down into 3 buckets. It's basically social proof, and these are the kind of ads of other people saying nice stuff about you, or you basically saying we worked with this company and this is the case study, this is the results we got. So this kind of social proof stuff is really great. And then there's features and benefits, but this also works for consultants. But if you're a SaaS company, features and benefits, obviously show your features and benefits, show how you work, show a specific thing that, how you help people and why it's super useful. Open up your demo, put a demo. The one thing I'd like to push actually is less productivized, or sorry, what's the word? Less like high level video. I'll just get a Loom video of just the founder saying, hey, this is our open demo. This is how it works. Keep it short and sweet, but having just a quick, like kind of Loom kind of style video, I think is really genuine and works really well. And the third bucket is education, which is be as useful as possible and educate on the greater segment of where you're at. So it's not specifically, it's a little bit of a higher like level of the segment you're in. So it's not just about like the features and benefits of social proof, it's educational content in the space you're in, basically. So those are the 3 content buckets I normally communicate.
I love that. In some of our messages, I was looking back, in preparation for this call, as I was saying, like what we'd chatted about in the past, you had mentioned that, I guess, like and you just said it a moment ago as well, like some of your clients just find really struggle, I guess, to create this content, like
Definitely.
what what are you finding in terms of that? I mean, I'm selfishly just asking this because it's good market research for me, but it's probably relevant to the audience as well. Like, what do you see people struggling with? And I guess what do you see happening in the folks that are able to do it? Is it just certain characters that kind of don't care what people think of them and they're happy to kind of jump on video, or they just work on it enough that they're comfortable there? Like, what holds people back, and yeah, what do you
Yeah.
see works, I guess?
In all honesty, I don't think it's the technical aspect or creating something high quality, because I don't think that's totally necessary
Yeah,
from my
it breaks
perspective.
my heart, but I
I think
agree.
that, sorry to say this,
No,
Chris,
15
I'm
years
just
as
going
a
to be,
commercial filmmaker, it's like, oh yeah, but I'm totally there with you. We're fully remote
it
now,
does
and
go, there's a segment in the market where it's really important. And I know certain people on LinkedIn are creating these really high quality videos. They're really funny. They're like, I forgot what the guys are called, but they're making like remakes of
oh my
movies, but for
goodness,
the
yes, who
B2B
I
world.
totally know what you
I
mean. Like
forgot the name.
the
That's working really well for them.
yeah, it's like Pulp Fiction
The
and
Reservoir,
yeah.
Pulp Fiction, that works great. And there's another, what's it called? Oh, I can't remember any of these guys'
Yeah,
names
yeah,
now. But there's another uh, quite big SaaS company also doing something similar. They're experimenting with like high production stuff
yeah.
and just trying to, like, one of them is experimenting with more like awkward, funny, The Office kind of style
And
stuff,
it's
but it's
entertainment,
obviously
really,
been
isn't it? You know?
filmed. Yeah, yeah. So I think there's a space in the market for that. That costs money and takes loads of effort, but it's great if you can afford that and you can, put some money and thought behind that. That's great. But the rest of us, I don't think you need to overthink it. I think you can do a really dirty Loom video or some of this. The hard part is is keeping it short and sweet, having a hook to keep people and like interested. And I feel like people communicate this, you can communicate something in 1 minute that you could also communicate in 5 minutes, and people end up just like talking around something too much. So trying to get really to the point is really difficult, and I think that's a really difficult skill to learn. I'm not very good at it. If you watch my YouTube videos, sometimes they're 15 minutes of just me blabbing on. I probably could do it in 5. So it's a real difficult one to do. It's something I'm trying to hone in and get better at, but I do find that's the biggest challenge most people have, because when ask them, please, can you just make a video, it always comes back like really long, and I'm like, I can edit a little bit myself. So I'm like, okay, let's just cut this up. I'm not going to go back and forth this. So making people charismatic and being able to communicate clearly it's a skill that you can't just learn overnight. It takes time.
Needs a skilled, experienced remote producer, Phil. That's what it's. That's
We
what,
need
I
Chris on the
don't know who would
team.
offer such a service, but no. So
Yeah,
it's really interesting. Like the answer to that for me is, and you said it, is sometimes just the power of the edit. You know, being a skilled person just picking out the great bits and stitching it together in a natural way. Or you mentioned it as well in like your big Loom video that you send a lot of people to. You did it a few times, and just the more it's in your head, the more you've kind of maybe even just felt the root to what you're demoing, and it's like it's more familiar, and even just you're suddenly not having to create, generate the content as much in your head. You'll find yourself not kind of pausing and looking away as much. It just compresses, and for my entire life, when I've had people in a studio in front of the camera, I always say, like, what's going to happen here is we're going to do this a few times, even if it's scripted, because they're thinking about what they're saying. They're, you know, working their way through sentences. The more they do it, it just becomes easier, really, and that's
I
part of
find that's
the,
completely true.
and
Yeah.
so it is like, all joking aside, the concept of having a third party guide you through this stuff, and like I've heard it described as like a content sparring partner, where you're literally just you're giving somebody a face to chat to. There's a bit of interaction, but also, like, from my point of view, I'm just like really listening in on what's being said, where it could maybe be pared down, where it could get to something faster, but also just encouraging. Sometimes it's like if we're talking about demos, it might be like an engineer or software engineer or somebody who's like,
Yeah.
just not used to doing that, or kind of terrified at the
Yeah.
prospect of creating content, and it's just
But Chris, the best, some of the best, like in the more technical industries, and sometimes in B2B, it's very technical stuff. And getting an engineer or getting a program or whatever to do the video, to talk the talk, and actually use their own jargon because they're talking to other potential engineers. If their target audience is other engineers, that works super well. And people identify even with that introversion because maybe they're also introverted as well. So I don't think that's a handicap, actually. I think being genuinely yourself, and if you are genuinely a little bit quieter or a bit more introverted or not, it doesn't matter. I think really leaning in onto that makes a big difference, and putting that content in front of other engineers is, I love getting the guys in the weeds to create the content if we're targeting other people in the weeds,
I
basically.
love it. People trust people like themselves, and people buy from
Exactly.
people they trust. So that's like, it's totally appropriate to looking at who your audience are and finding those people within your company and encouraging them and facilitating them being on, because it isn't always about founders and CEOs. It could be subject matter experts. Sometimes that is an engineer, sometimes it's like a customer success person who maybe was an engineer but is more connected with talking and helping customers, maybe are just a little bit more equipped to communicate well. But it's finding those people in a company, and they probably are sitting with, somewhere. It's just a matter of identifying, facilitating, and
Yeah.
encouraging them. I find,
It's really difficult. I'm in the process right now. This is my number one thing I'm working on at the moment, is to find a way to get everyone in Kin in my company to start posting, because I'm the only one at the moment. And so right now I'm creating, I want to make a real big deal, because when I say please start posting, it was like, okay, one post comes out and not for another month. And so it becomes this kind of like thing where no one really prioritizes it because they don't really understand how valuable it is potentially. So it's like communicating the value firstly, but making it a business goal. This is a really important thing for us to do. And to do that, we're going to have like weekly meetings. We've got a Slack group where I'm going to get every time they put the post in. So we're all like encouraging each other. But each week we're also saying, going over the posts we've posted and saying, how did they do? What's working? What's not? So it becomes like an actual thing, a business goal, rather than just like, hey, we need you to post, or it needs to become a real thing. Otherwise, I don't think people will prioritize it. There's so many other things to do in the day that posting becomes the least, the doesn't become a priority for a lot of these people.
I
Yeah.
love
So
that,
yeah.
and I see it. I see it and hear about it everywhere. Even in my own clients are really getting involved in it. There's so many good things coming out of that, because it can be not incentivized necessarily, but gamified sometimes. You can sort of, because there's data with this. You can see like who's kind of winning, I guess, and whose posts are being resonated, but also working as a team like that. I love the idea of being in Slack group together, but because the biggest hurdle often is like, what am I going to post? And when you have that team approach, you can together like identify subjects, so like even just problems that customers are having, things that people are talking about, solutions that you've found or just even just an interesting insight. Like you posted this morning about, I guess, like the cost advantages of thought leader videos, and like that's obviously just an insight from data that you've seen somewhere, and then it's really,
I'll be honest with you, that one is a recycled one because I was
yeah.
like
Oh, but
so
that's
busy
yeah, but
this
that's
morning.
okay.
So that's
Yeah,
also part of it. That's also part of it. I've been
100%.
posting for years now. So sometimes, a lot of the time when I'm doing something and a client asks me something, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'm always writing notes of like potential posts when I'm going through my day, or I find some data. I'm like, that's cool. Let's do that. So I'm just finding these inspirations from my day. But sometimes you wake up and you don't have anything, and like today, I'm like, I'm so busy. I've got an interview with Chris. I've got some other bits and bobs going on. So I literally just I would scrolled like 3 months back. I was like, okay, that's a good one. Let's just repost that. And people don't remember. And so you need to be reposting the same things over and over again. Don't think people actually remember what you're posting 3 months ago. No one, I didn't even remember it, to be honest with you. So
No, they don't. They don't remember it, but also many of them don't see it. You have like, what is it, like 13,000 followers. Like I know I have a similar number, but I know if I post something, some of it might get shown to 800 people, and that's just like a tiny fraction of my audience. And even that, some of the people that are seeing that are second and third degree connections. It's not even just my followers. So like it's totally okay to recycle things, and often maybe it's like a video one day and it becomes, a carousel another time. That same insight of that same piece of information, or it could just become like a infographic and a great bit of text. Another time it's the same, absolutely just hitting people with the same thoughts, the same information, but in maybe sometimes different ways, or just after a bit more time.
The big insight I've had recently, because I've been looking at this quite a lot, is that because more back 2 years ago, there weren't many people posting. So you could kind of do more broad posts about whatever LinkedIn ads, do this or what that, or whatever you're doing. You can be more broad. But what I'm finding now is that because so many people are posting, those kind of posts don't do as well. The ones that do really well is something that you found from your own data or something that's original to your own business. And that's what I'm finding. So for us, it's literally the data I'm seeing. And so I'm actually putting time and effort to creating experiments to see, okay, I know I go out and people are like, for example, how do you optimize your for lead ads? Is it engagement or is it brand awareness? If you ask anyone, there's no consensus at the moment. And I've seen some stats, people come out and it's actually like, to me, it's the opposite of what I'm seeing. I'm like, what's going on here? So I've decided to make an experiment. I know that's an experiment people value so much. One of my biggest posts I posted last month was the experiment. It wasn't even the results. It was like, these are the experiments I'm running. And it got probably 5 times more impressions than any of the other. People like to know original research or original insights. So if you can give that, I think that's going to go a really long way.
I love that. Phil, this has been fantastic. Tell me, I guess, how people can connect with you and find out more about what you're all doing at Kiin.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the best place is on LinkedIn. I hang out on LinkedIn way too many hours a day,
I
so
know,
I'm there.
tell
You
me
can
about
reach
it.
out to me. So it's just Phil Ilic, Phil, and then Ilic. Or on YouTube, you can find me. You'll find me in various places, but probably LinkedIn's the best place. I'm on YouTube. I have a newsletter, but I think you'll find me. LinkedIn could be a hub, so you'll find all the various places I am from LinkedIn, and you can also check us out at kiin.co, Kiin.co. We're a LinkedIn ads agency, so if anyone's interested, they're super welcome to reach out over there.
Love it. Thank you so much for this, Phil. It's been really cool.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks so much, Chris.